Hello, and welcome to another episode of Mediocre Man Magazine. I'm your host, Mediocre Man. Last episode or article that I made, it was a hit. I got a lot more positive feedback and everyone really liked sort of the fundamentals of changing and maintaining things around the house. So when I changed the shower head in my bathroom, I was thinking to myself, hey, is there anything else around the house? Well, my wife caught me talking about that, and she comes up and she's like, perfect, you can change this chandelier. I don't like it anymore. For the third time. So we got this used online. So this one's got to go up, and this thing's got to come down. So today's episode, how to change a light fixture.
That's better.
Now, there's not many things that I'm comfortable with when working with plumbing or electrical, but a shower head replacement I'm comfortable with, and replacing a light fixture I'm comfortable with. Everything outside of that, I strongly recommend getting a professional electrician or plumber for things like that around the house. To be able to do this, all you mainly need is a pair of pliers and a set of screwdrivers. Now, if it's a set of screwdrivers made by DeWalt, that's a plus. They're not a sponsor, but that would be sweet. Anyways, so what I start with first, this one's on a hook, so I'm going to leave the weight. It's actually way easier when it has this hook. It's going to hold the weight, so I want to disconnect this. This main fixture is obviously connected to power. So I'm going to unscrew these first. That's secured to the ceiling. Okay, so now I've taken this off. This part here, this fixture right here, is connected to the studs in the ceiling. So it can handle the weight, so I'm not worried about that, but this hook is also going to help carry the weight. And I put this hook in before, and that's also, you want to make sure is in a stud, for those of you that are putting this in. So this hook was already here before, but if you're ever going to put one of these hooks in, make sure it's not in a drywall anchor. It will most likely not hold the weight of the fixture. Okay? So that's for that. This is fine. What I want to do now is I want to disconnect this from the power system, and then I'm going to take this down and put it back up. Now that the power is disconnected to this circuit, and I know it's disconnected because I had the light on and had the wife upstairs signaling back to me on the main power, and I was flicking breakers because I should have had it labeled by now, but I'm way too lazy. Name for average here, what you gonna do, okay? But anyways, now it's disconnected. The term they use is it's no longer hot. So there's no chance of electrocuting myself. What was holding it together are two plastic fittings with conductive metal inside called morettes. These morettes thread on, so there's no exposed wire when you put the electrical wires together. And so that way it can't like short out and connect to other wires, or it can't go up against something flammable. All of the cable for the electricity, except for the ground wire, is supposed to be covered. Whether it be covered in the plastic on the wire itself, or it needs to be covered by a moret. But there should be no exposed wires except for the ground wire. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the new fixture, and I am going to hook it up to these wires. Now, in this case, for this light fixture, it doesn't matter which cable I connect the light to, but on other fixtures, it comes with instructions, and it will be labeled which one you need to connect it to. That is the most important part, or the most dangerous part of doing a light fixture. So to speak, you want to make sure that it will be labeled which wire is supposed to go to which. And usually, when there is a ground cable, the ground cable needs to be hooked up and connected to the ground cable in the ceiling. So as always, I'm going to hook these up. Wish me luck. Here we go. Make sure that the morettes are on properly. What you want to do is, so I'm going to take this moret off. What I've done is I've taken this wire, I usually straighten it out, and then I twist the two wires together, and when it's twisted together like that, I've twisted it with my fingers, or if you have trouble and you need to use pliers, take the pliers and pinch and twist to the right, and then you take the moret and you want to make sure that you're pushing and twisting the moret on. The only way you can basically tell if you did a good job with the moret is if you tug. If you tug and it comes out, do it again. That's the only way you know that it's securely locked together. You have not done it tight enough and they're not linked enough together, is if you tug and it falls right out, do it again. And do it again and again until you know that that's not going to come out. Now I know that all the wires, there's no exposed wires in here, okay, so it won't short out towards one another. The next thing I'm going to do now is here, I'm going to grab the ground cable here that's in the ceiling, and I'm going to grab the ground cable that's here. Some fixtures will have it where you have to just twist these together, and other fixtures like this one has a green screw, green for ground. Okay, if it's got the green screw, you have to screw both the ground cables to that and tighten that up, and then I can take this fixture and screw it back together the way that it came. As always, sometimes you can run into a few little issues. One issue I have here is this new cap keeps hitting these bolts that are sticking down, that I'm supposed to basically take this that holds the weight of the fixture itself. So all I got to do in this case is cut a little bit off, just because this won't touch the ceiling here. My finger fits in there. So I have to cut about a finger thickness of the bolt off. I'm going to use my pliers. It's got a scissor tip end on it. Buck those off, and then I'll be able to unthread these, put this fixture piece here, which is this bracket. I'll put the bolts through this slot here and the other one on this side, and then I'll basically screw that on, and then you just take the fixture and then screw that to there, and then I just got to lower it. So that's about it to how to replace a light fixture. As always, keep it on. Here we go. That's better. If you're in the fridge this week, but actually sipping on these quite often, it's a new beer by Phillips in Phillips Brewing in Victoria, BC. It's called Little Wonder. Low in alcohol content, low in calories, and well, gotta look after that old girlish figure, so you know. Yeah, it's good beer. I really do like it. I've been sipping on them a lot lately. It's been my new go-to, and I'm a fads guy, so eventually I'll move on to something else, but for now that's what I'm sipping on. I don't know if you noticed in the time lapse, it was a bit of a struggle there at the end trying to get all the cables up in that little pot there, where you gotta kind of get all the things. Then that's probably the hardest part, and I'll honestly just be patient. You kind of gotta make sure that the cables aren't all bunched up on each other or undoing, so you know, it turned out pretty well. I'm pretty happy with it all. Yeah, after we turn the light on, we have a dimmer switch on that one, and it kind of matches the lights beside it, but that doesn't have a dimmer switch. So right as I finished all up and I was cleaning up, my wife says, hey, next week's episode, why don't you do a dimmer switch? So the honey-do list continues. I haven't even finished one job, and I'm getting ready for the next one, but that's how it goes sometimes, and that's okay. As always, it's a pleasure doing this kind of stuff. Please like, please subscribe, please pass this on. I'm trying to grow this page. And so as always, this is Mediocre Man Magazine, and I'm Mediocre Man. Cheers.